Greetings and salutations, Dota fans. Welcome into this midweek edition, this kickoff edition for the second week of the American Dota League. I'm Aaron AC Chambers. My privilege to be bringing you the best in North American and South American Dota. And this time, believe it or not, I actually managed to convince someone to come on the mic with me. I know, right? If you know the Dota scene here in North America, you maybe have heard of him. His name is Blitz. Blitz, brother, how you doing?
Good, good. This is actually my first time hearing that intro of yours. That's pretty insane.
That's the very first time you've ever heard that, of all time. So, like, you just don't watch Dota or what?
No, I just never come into the beginning of it. I wait after the draft, and it was pretty ridiculous to hear. That was actually really neat.
Well, I'm glad to have you aboard, man. Certainly glad to hear your insight, and glad to have you dropping knowledge bombs and making me sound a little less stupid. Usually nice to have somebody on for that. And this is actually the first time Blitz and I have had a chance to work together. We were talking and joking around a little bit. Last time he and I really had a chance to interact was back at the International, too, where, you know, I think it qualifies as us working together, the fact that we spend a lot of time in the VIP area eating copious numbers of Snicker bars. I mean, I think that
I'm really down with that. I'm 100% down with qualifying that as working together.
So we're looking to add another notch to our CV between us. Artyk taking on Team Dignitas here in our first of 3 games of the evening. And yeah, we were talking a bit just before we got going with the cast. I mean, Dignitas, I don't really think needs a big introduction. They're a fantastic team, a direct invite to the International 3, and one of the best teams in the world. I mean, I don't think that's really disputed. They have been showing some up and down results lately. They have been playing without Fogged a bit. They've had MSS standing in pretty recently. And Artyk, you had some thoughts on Artyk whenever we were talking. Give me the scouting report from where you sit, exactly how these teams match up.
Artyk is a Peruvian team. They've been around since Dota 1, where they actually won a few SECSs, I believe, which is North America's big tournament. And that was back when it was pretty prestigious, so this isn't a bad team by any stretch. I saw them play against Navi in a We Play tournament, where I think they should have won 2-1, but they did manage to take a game off Navi, which is quite impressive for, you know, a little team from Peru.
Right.
All veteran players for the most part. I think Dignitas is the better team overall, obviously being invited to the International, but Artyk isn't a bunch of slouches either. I think when I talked to, actually I shouldn't reveal that, but I believe in terms of the qualifier for the West, they were rated as the 10th team internally. So they were 2 off of actually being invited to the qualifiers, so not a bad team by any stretch.
That's definitely interesting. I guess you just kind of sit back, and I wasn't involved in either the West or the East qualifiers. You, of course, had the chance to work with the great guys at BTS doing the East. So I guess I hadn't really thought about the idea that Valve would put together a list of more than enough teams. You know what I mean? Like ranking them out. So that just goes to show, like you said, Artyk, a team considered by the folks who know and make Dota to be certainly one of the dozen best squads on the planet, or in the West that wasn't already invited, I guess is probably the way to say it. Anyway, the bans and the picks moving out. We've got a and Bad Rider taken out by Artyk. Not going to have a Lifestealer or a Darkseer courtesy of Dignitas. Dignitas picks up the Lone Druid. How he does love the hero. Bane and Clockwork, 2 of the best counters to both Lifestealer and to Lone Druid as well. Counter pick. Then we see a Shadow Demon and Kunkka. Now, Kunkka's a hero that I've been seeing a lot of lately. I feel like a lot of teams really want to try to find a place for him in their lineup, and they're beginning to experiment. Now's the perfect time leading up to the International. Tell me where you think that Kunkka pick fits into not just this game, Blitz, but into the general meta.
I mean, he's a great mid. He's really difficult to push out of the lane, good at denying, good at last hitting. Harassing is natural to him, obviously, because of his cleave, his Tidebringer. Yeah, sorry, I don't know the names of any spells. You have a guaranteed initiate with X marks the spot and Torrent. So I'd imagine whoever plays Kunkka for them will just go 2 into Torrent, 2 into X. And then from there, you just get to start a fight on your terms. And then the boat, the ghost ship, if it actually hits, it does so much damage. But even if it doesn't, it gives your team 10% move speed. And for 8 seconds, it delays damage.
Right.
Which makes, 8 seconds is usually the entirety of a fight.
Yep.
So if you can get it going for that long, then essentially you want to fight. It's a pretty fantastic hero, actually. It's in China, it's actually become LGD's go-to mid hero.
Yep. And in Asia and in the West in particular, I've been seeing, and it's one of those things where you don't want to make too much of geographic regions. I think oftentimes all of us in the community do a little bit of that, and then you have Alliance go accomplish something at the G1 Champions League that kind of brings all of that to a crashing halt. But The Brazilian teams that I've had a chance to broadcast here in the ADL over the last, I don't know, 10, 12 days or however long, they've been playing a lot of Kunkka, and I agree with you. I think he's a hero who really has a skill set that fits in into any aggressive lineup. And you brought up the ship, and you touched on all the high points. The other thing about that ship is the low cooldown.
Remaining.
He can fight often. He's not a hero who you go and find. It's like, well, we broke even, so
5
let's go farm for
seconds
3.5 minutes or whatever while we wait on everything to come off CD. If you have an aggressive team, especially a push-oriented team, Kunkka gives you the ability, as you said, to take those fights on your own terms, even when the enemy is under their own tower. The damage delay, as you may have to correct me on this, but the damage delay registers for tower damage too, correct?
I think it should register for all damage taken.
Right, exactly.
So it's pretty great.
Yeah, so in terms of being able to take a fight from not just the team fight perspective, but from any kind of a lineup that just wants to get out, get active, and try to get map control, the cooldowns factor in just as much as anything. Anyway, we see the lineups rounded out by Artyk grabbing a Nature's Prophet. And Clockwork and Bane, as we had mentioned, I mean, just great counters to Lone Druid. Clockwork, one of the best heroes in terms of reach in the entire game. And I actually ran this by, I want to say it was Melk or Beatiz, one of the two. To the best of my knowledge, Clockwork's hook has the largest non-global cast range of any ability in the game, doesn't it?
I mean, it goes at 3,000 at max
Yeah.
level, so it's pretty fantastic. I think you might be right. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, you're talking a hero who has the most reach of anyone. Then the Bane to deal with the Lone Druid, and Bane, of course, just the hero who deals with any kind of single target DPS hero very well because of Enfeeble, his ability to lock them down with Fiend's Grip, and of course, Nightmare to sleep the bear. But taking a look at where both of these teams are going so far here, Blitz, give me your thoughts on the front six.
Pretty aggressive lineups. Dignitas picked Shadow Demon Kunkka, fantastic lane if they decide to dual lane or anything like that. Lone Druid is just, especially since the armlet nerf on him, since the
Right.
bear can't use the armlet after this patch. That hasn't been put into place yet, so Lone Druid is still first pick material by far. It's just a good hero to take. I know it's something that AUI is one of the best in the world at. I think he's actually set the Lone Druid metagame for the most part. He was the first person to use that to use the Maelstrom instead of the Radiance,
Yep.
and then he was the one to innovate the armlet as well. So it's one of his signature heroes. As far as Artyk goes, a really aggressive lineup. I like Bane as a hero, as a support especially. It's a good setup hero. The sleep works really good against the bear in the middle of team fights where it's difficult to take the sleep off. The grip also is fantastic. Dignitas doesn't. They have a lot of things to deal with sleep grip, I guess. But if the Bane can come in near the middle of the fight, he should be able to land grips. And it's kind of a tanky support too, if you think about it, since Brain Sap effectively adds at max level 300 HP to whatever
Yep.
bull you have. So it's like a little mech to himself. As far as Clockwork goes, it's fantastic too against Lone Druid, because what Lone Druid wants to do is sit in the back, let his bear kind of start the fights for him, and he just kind of kites and micros around.
Right.
So Clockwork can just kind of close the distance really quickly, as you said. And then as far as Nature's Prophet, he does the exact same thing, being able to teleport on top of wherever he wants.
Right.
And so I think Artyk wants to just run this really aggressive, we're going to gank you like crazy kind of lineup.
Yeah, I agree with you. Problem they're going to run into is that Dignitas has a great lineup at fighting early. So they round out their front five with Juggernaut grabbing the Jug, one of the best early game team fight heroes. A little bit of carry potential, not quite on the level of a Druid, but I'm really becoming a fan, and it's easy to become a fan of it because you tend to see a lot of fighting. It's fun as a caster and as a viewer. But of lineups like this, like Dignitas is showing us, with the Juggernaut, the Jakiro, and the Shadow
10
Demon,
seconds.
that
10
Kunkka likely to
seconds
wind up
remaining.
mid. They could offlane the Lone Druid, but really a Jug Shadow
5
Demon,
seconds
Shadow
remaining.
Demon Jakiro lane, especially with an Enchantress and a Prophet already being revealed. That screams at least one defensive jungler. An offensive tri-lane might very well be in order, free up the solo safe farm for the Lone Druid of AUI, as you had said. And Kunkka in mid. Then you have 3 damage dealers, 2 of which are going to peak in the mid game, and 1 of which can carry you late. And it's just whenever I see a draft like this, it's just so hard. Other than just if Artyk is able to use their mobility, as you just so eloquently explained, the Enchantress, of course, one of the best heroes in the entire game early on, and so often Enchantress lineups live and die by how much she's able to accomplish between about 4 and 15 minutes. 4 minutes usually the earliest you'll see her start to move around to gank. If she can get the job done and free the map up, things can get real ugly in a hurry. But Dignitas just has one of those lineups. It's become a meme around me because I like the word to describe this lineup. It's robust. It's just a very well-rounded lineup that is extremely potent at nearly every stage of the game.
Yes, completely agree. I think Dignitas recognizes too that they have the late game advantage with their first 3 heroes. So they don't actually need to pick another late game carry to take it late. They just kind of need something to buffer them into the mid game
Right.
pretty evenly. So I think they recognize that Artyk has a super aggressive lineup, and they just want a team that can survive that, I
Right.
think, and just kind of push it later. Plus, Jug is a really difficult carry to gank. I really like this Morphling pick, actually, by Artyk. Dignitas doesn't really have too much disable for him, which is something you need to deal with Morphling. They actually do have a lot of bursts with, if they can initiate with Kunkka, but for the most part, no lockdown stuns or anything like that.
Right. Yeah, and and that's something. While we wait on the game is loaded in, but while we wait for the lanes to take shape and all that, anyone who watches you stream, and I try to anytime I see you around, is I've seen you play Morphling many, many times, and just as a general, I'm sure the viewers would love to hear this. Why do you think Morphling fell off? I mean, he was nerfed, but the nerf wasn't so gargantuan that it just crushed him completely out of the meta like we've seen. I mean, what combination of factors do you think led to Morphling really falling out of popularity to this point?
Just the fact that you couldn't insta blow anybody up anymore.
Right.
I mean, the nerf I think was actually pretty significant, just because before you could play him in the mid lane, get Wraithband to begin with, a Tango and a Salve, just get stacked regen, and then just get Morph level 1, start
Right.
with like 80 base damage or something ridiculous, and you wouldn't have a lot of HP, but you could trade 1-to-1 and out farm anybody.
Right.
Also, it was impossible to gank you just because Morph can go through any disables and stuff like that.
Right.
So, I mean, the nerf was actually pretty heavily significant. I think that was the main thing that kind of hurt him the most, because there are other carries that didn't get nerfed that still are really good, such as Anti-Mage exists as an option with the rise of heroes like Juggernaut, Lone Druid, Lifestealer, things that just like progressively got better. Whereas, I mean, Morphling just kind of got worse. I don't think it was necessarily anything but the nerfs, but he is starting to see a bit of a comeback. I think I casted a game with him actually in the international qualifier where it was Myth Trust versus Mineski, where the Morph just got so big and they didn't have enough disables to deal with him, where we got to see the old Morph just kind of run in one-shot supports and even carries actually. So in a lineup like this where Dignitas didn't really pick hard disables, I think Morph is actually quite a good hero.
Yeah, it's when I did the G1, I saw Morphling picks a few times. Orange is a team, for example, that doesn't mind picking a Morphling and will pick a Morphling from time to time. But interesting insight. Very much appreciated, my friend. We're getting underway. We'll take a look at the lanes momentarily. How about we take a look at who's handling who? We're going to have Way Too Sexy on our twin-head dragon, known as Jakiro, the stand-in MSS. He'll be handling the Shadow Demon. Kunkka going to be played in mid here by Universe. Lone Druid going to be handled by Aoi. I believe that's not a surprise. And Juggernaut going to be taken into the offensive tri lane. At least it would seem. Well, let's see here. We got Aoi by himself. And yeah, Way Too's going to eventually make his way up there. Currently just the two of them sneaking plus MSS, but sneaking will be on the Jug. On the other side of the river, we got Mystico playing on our Clockwork. That will be a support clock. Smash here in mid. He is their typical mid player. Masuko going to be playing on the Enchantress. Already got herself an illusion. Trailing behind. Mihawk going to go one-on-one with the Druid here in the solo off lane. And then we're going to have Iwo playing on the Morphling. So right now it's a flat-out two-on-two up here. And where did the Jakiro go? Is he making his way up? Yeah, slowly. Way Too's going to hook up. So this lane could be very problematic for Artyk. I mean, like you said, they don't have a ton of lockdown, but they do have enough up here to at least make Morphling think twice.
Yeah, they're actually just going to be able to force him out of the lane, and that means that puts a lot of pressure on the Enchantress. This is something I've seen a lot lately. They offensive jungle the Enchantress, and she's going to try to pick up 1 or 2 creeps, and then have the Nature's Prophet kind of push out bottom, and then just dive the Lone Druid. But AUI seems like he's doing a really good job just freezing the lane in this area, so it's going to be a little more difficult to gank him, but he does have 2 creeps and an illusion rune, so this should be the moment to go in.
Going with a lot of damage, AUI is going to be running to the south, trying to find a safe spot in the woods. Not going to be any reaction. The bear is there trying to body block a bit. And there's actually a TP coming. That's going to be the Jakiro. Aoi still alive, at least for the moment. Taking some damage from Trance, but not much else. Way Too taking damage himself. Cue the Benny Hill music. Seems like everybody's a little confused as to what's going on here. As the creeps even got pulled off by the Enchantress, though. She's going to recommit to Aoi. Aoi in a perfect spot. Might be able to get the Ursa. Looks like he will be first blood, though. And Way Too unable to really help out. Just too much to manage by himself. Masuko's taking tower damage, but has 1 point in Nature's Attendance. So healing himself as well as the Prophet up. Aoi will be back up and fighting, but not before the damage is done. Give Artyk, the Peruvians, the first blood.
Yeah, I think AUI should have seen that coming, and I think he did, but not much he can do in a situation like that because the treants are so tanky
Yeah.
that it's impossible for him to just, you know, one-on-one fight them off, and he can't really teleport the Baron at the level he was, but just a really solid gank. I mean, the thing though that hurts Artyk is that Snake King should be getting absolute free farm, which he is. I mean, he's got 10 CS. They lost their courier as well. Is that what happened?
I didn't even see it. Did that happen?
Yeah, in between the gank, I guess the courier died. Wow, that actually hurts a lot because now Universe doesn't have a bottle.
Right.
He doesn't have any regen left. He's only got 400 HP, and Smash actually has an Invis rune in full mana, so he can actually just force Universe off the lane here.
This is something I haven't seen in a while, by the way. Solo mid Bane. I mean, Bane is an absolute terror. Lives up to his namesake in one-on-one situations because of Brain Sap, especially when he has solid regen. Just Brain Sap anytime he feels like it. As you said, it's kind of like a mech that does damage in terms of one-on-one targets, so Smash should be coming out ahead here. But yeah, I have no idea how they lost the courier. If I had to guess, it was probably just in this bottom go-around when there's a lot of confusion. But as of right now, Artyk should be looking to be in pretty good shape. You want to see another engagement at the top. There's been a lot of paint traded up here, but a lot of ways for each team to protect themselves. Now they're going to reinitiate on the sneaking. And there's the Prophet. Wave forming through. Misko drops to Cogs. He's in trouble. He will bang his way out. Will it be enough? He's running for sneaking. Great Sprout. They got the Shadow Demon already. This is going to be 2 down. And Dignitas trailing. Oh, wow. There we go. I was going to say, I thought he might have made it back out of auto attack range, but a waveform changed that, make it 3-0 as the Peruvians are beating up on the North American superstars in 4 minutes.
Yeah, Clockwork has 758 HP, decent armor, good move speed. I mean, he has 315 without boots, so it's difficult for the Jug to just go on him. And once he does waste that spin, it's easy for them to counter-initiate. There's no way they're going to kill the Morphling up here with just the Jug and the Shadow Demon. So the lane is kind of annoying for IWO, but for the most part, he has nothing to worry about in terms of dying. So it's easy to CS off of that. And then on top of that, I think they're comfortable with the first gank they gave AUI, leaving the Enchantress up there by himself, and Nature's Prophet is able to rotate down because of that.
And we can see they're beginning to put a little pressure on Aoi. Speaking of, 18th CS, puts him second on the board. 22 for Bane in mid, going about how we expected. He's just having the better of this. Kunkka's in range, but still being doubled up. He's at 12, so not completely alone. We can see the CS in this top lane taking a toll on both just because of how active it's been, only 15 apiece. But it's 5 minutes in already. I mean, especially with the Clockwork being able to survive there, this is one of those things that has to be considered problematic. Clock's one of those heroes, especially against the lineup like Dignitas is running, that, you know, what makes him so valuable is the fact that he doesn't need a lot of armor levels to really feel effective. But if he gets off to a good start, if he is on adequate level, and he does get some assist gold, etc., gets up, you know, early items, he's the kind of hero that really can just take a game over.
Yes, definitely. That initiation that you have, it makes it so difficult to engage fights. But I mean, the thing that sucks at the middle lane Universe is going to go down, I think.
Fiend's grip on him. He's going to run. Brain Sap auto attack. That'll do. 4-0. And Artyk is crushing Dignitas, at least for right now. So, and this is exactly why I love the ADL. You knew there was going to be some teams, I'm not calling an upset yet, obviously, but there are going to be teams who no one expects to even have a chance.
Oh, at bottom.
And bottom fight, there's an Ice Path going to catch Miyagi. He's in a bit of trouble. Dignitas looking to get on the board for the first time, and they will, as they're able to kill off the Prophet, make it 4-1.
Yeah, that was actually a good rebuttal kill, but at the same time, I mean, Universe is having the worst time of his life mid. He's got 300 gold, he doesn't even have boots yet. I think the Bane actually picked up Arcanes, so that's quite a heavy lead, and he's actually going to go in and initiate on top.
And Smash
should be able to wait this out.
TPN. Getting rather aggressive. Tower's still in good shape, but with the TPN, yeah, it's just going to be MSS, so he's not going to be safe by himself, not with 4 people in range. Bane bailing for the moment, but here comes the Enchantress creeps. And we're going to go ahead and go for the tower. But yeah, as you mentioned, Kunkka really hurt so much by the loss of his courier. This is, you know, when you're in a situation like that, Blitz, how to uphold that thought. We're going to take MSS. Here comes the Cogs from Misko as he buys time for the retreat of his team. Was a TPN from the Jug, and looks like that's enough to run them out. But when you're in that situation, Blitz, how do you go about recovering? Is it just the simple grind it out and hope for the best, or is there a certain kind of approach that you have to take to it?
Just don't tilt. It's really easy to try to do too much to come back into a game, but if you play safe and just try to pick up farm where you can, you should be okay. Kunkka's a hero that doesn't need too many items, as most of the your spells will do the work for you. I mean, it's a simple initiator. You just X marks the spot towards somebody, and no matter what, the fight starts on your terms, right?
Right.
Where somebody's caught off, but I mean, it's really difficult because the start he's had, I mean, he almost got doubled at CS at one point. It's just really difficult, but at the same time, Artyk actually doesn't have that much CS of an advantage, and it looks like they're going to be able to save Universe here too, with Way Too Sexy just kind of waiting behind.
Yep.
They actually saw him coming. That's a really smart ward. If you notice right here, right between the two towers, it just kind of keeps Smash safe from having to waste his Fiend's Grip.
Right.
But the CS advantage isn't actually as high as I thought it'd be, especially since Lone Druid is now leading the game, and Morphling isn't too far behind, but Bane is only 5 ahead now. This is a really smart gank though on AUI, especially since the true form isn't up.
Gonna be Fiend's Gripped. Treant's gonna join in the fun. Don't think they need it. Bringing down the bear, quite a big deal. Anything you can do to keep the Lone Druid behind is certainly going to benefit you. Just buy yourself some time to put a team that like we've kind of beaten to the ground. A very aggressive team, a team that has a lot of aggressive potential. Even the Morphling could come out and fight a little early if he wants to just rely on waveform. We'll see how he ends up wanting to build. With he's already got his Shreds and his Aqualade complete. Arc's already done on the Enchantress. They're going to spot Way2, and Way2 will be able to double back and around. But I really like how Arctic's playing this. They're not letting off the gas. I mean, like, they are backing off from time to time like we're seeing right now, but it's not for long. They're constantly in the process of trying to find another opening to exploit.
Yeah, and they're not forcing either, although they are going on Smash here.
Yep. Boat will actually miss. There's an Ice Path to follow it up. He got the Brain Sap up, and yeah, just look at how, I mean, they have to run. They know they can't engage. They don't know who's going to be TPing in them there from Artyk, so the boat missing, definitely a bit of a misplay there. That boat could be a little tricky to land, though. It's not quite as easy to aim as one would think.
Yeah, most people aim it behind, which is the right thing to do, but at the same time, really smart players, when they play, they don't panic. They run at the boat, actually, because they know that it'll just kind of sail over their heads if they go into melee range of the Kunkka. So that's exactly what he does. Pops the Brain Sap, no fear there. And he's actually going Enfeeble over Nightmare. He's got 3 levels of Enfeeble. I really like that over the Bear.
Yeah.
Just trying to mitigate the damage that AUI can do early.
It really limits what Aoi can do. And, you know, play behind Druid. Oftentimes you'll see Druids maybe have an iffy start. Aoi, he's already died a couple of times. I'd say falls into that category. He is tops on the board in CS, so it's not as if he's bleeding to death or anything. But, you know, it's not going to be probably where he wants it to be. However, with that Enfeeble, it just shuts down the Lone Druid's push potential so much. Because what you usually want to do whenever you get behind on the Druid, just hook up with your team, hope that you can free some space up, try to push and take some towers, get some map control and what have you. Whenever the Bear's Enfeebled, it just doesn't matter. I mean, Demolish is still very effective, but not as effective.
MSS.
Fiend's Grip on MSS. Stomp to guarantee it. Guess that was a victory stomp, because there was no way he was getting out of that anyway. And yeah, Aoi gonna have to retreat. There's that Enfeeble on the Bear. And
yeah, this should be a tower too.
Yeah, they're just playing a great game, man. And, you know, I'm really, this is exactly why I love the D2L, excuse me, the ADL. And Prophet actually just got a kill on the Juggernaut. But, where did he get that? He got that as he was running away, it looks like. But,
yeah, he launched his ult, it hits, and then IWO just kind of cleans up. I think the mid lane, it went so poorly for them just because, I mean, Kunkka, it wasn't really Universe's fault. He lost the chicken, so he wasn't able to get his bottle. He couldn't really play up anything like that. Right. And look at his farm. He's going to have, I mean, he's only got 942 gold, which is what Bane was at 4 minutes ago. Right. And Bane's actually almost got a mech, meaning they can just actually be the ones to fight. So Smash actually has no reason to be mid anymore. I mean, he's won the lane so handily that he has such a huge buffer range of gold. So he can actually just go around the map, ganking AUI, putting pressure on him. And Snake actually isn't getting any farm in the long lane either. I mean, he's going to have, what, 14-minute phase boots?
Right.
So just not playing safe enough. So that creates actually no space for AUI to farm at all, just because they can go down and gank him every single time.
Right. And, you know, this is what I love about the ADL, though. These teams, you know, I'm sure all of these teams have played each other. Arctic's played Dignitas at some time in the past, but, you know, playing like this, they're playing every team, you know, all of the top teams in North and South America, and it's going to give them confidence. It's going to say, you know what, Dignitas is Dignitas, but you know what, we're Arctic, and we can play as well. We can see Misko has already rotated to mid. He did find his level 6 while he was there, and that's based on what you had said. The fact that Bane can just hook up now, run with the Enchantress, kind of do his own thing, and free that lane up for others while simultaneously putting pressure elsewhere on the map. We'll take our first look at the gold graph, and yeah, no joke, man. 6,000 gold going the way of Artyk, the experience, right in the range of 3,000. So they have opened up a decent little lead. And this is very much in contrast, by the way, to a game that felt like this. And I pointed out just because Artyk's doing the right thing, and you've already touched on it a bit. There was a game last week, and we'll hold that thought because I think we got a boat coming, and we do. There's that Torrent and the Ice Path, and the Nightmare actually bailed him out. Basuko's still running. They're going to try to pursue this, but he's still alive. Nature's Attendance just makes Enchantress damn near impervious at this level.
Yeah, what a player, too. That Nightmare was perfectly timed, so no damage went on him. And then at the same time, they committed 4 heroes to that and a boat, so they know, Artyk knows at the very least where everyone is, so they can spread their farm. And meanwhile, IWO is just getting free farm at top. He hasn't been touched in quite some time. He's got 2 kills, he got a tower kill, he has an assist, and he's got 60 creeps, which actually isn't too much. But considering the carry against him is 32, it's fantastic. Everything is relative, right?
Gonna be caught with a hook, drop the cogs, and there's a party behind him. There's the Fiend's Grip. Owie already feeling tanky, but not tanky enough. No help on the way, as they know there's just very little they can do. Looks like they want to try and push back into mid, but the immediate teleport back from 2 should shut that down. Clockwork dropping the cogs, and just very well executed, but what we just saw was a great example. Hold that thought. Macro Pyre down. Masuko in the middle of it. Going to use the Nature's Attendance. Here comes the boat. It's going to split the wickets. Now Universe and company going to be forced to withdraw. Disruption. Buy some time. Now a nice ice path. Caught 2. Now the waveform, though. He's going to come forward. Dual breath. Doing some damage. Sneaking's in trouble. Way 2's going to end up dropping. And now Universe the target. IWO showing up and ready to fight. He has waveform if he wants it. Looks like he may just need it to get out of trouble. Getting a little too far back behind the tower. But Artyk taking control right now, and Feeble out on the Bear Smash will be rooted. We'll see if they want to try to counter engage. There's actually a waveform. Now he's going to be way back in enemy hands. And there's a disruption. Out he comes, and actually missed it on the Torrent. Brain Sap almost killed off Universe. 2 more. Teleports in, and now Jug's ready to fight. Jug does not have Omni Slash, has Blade Fury, but he will go ahead and retreat. Mihawk going to get the hell out of dodge. Teleports to safety. IWO and Misco looking to retreat as well. So Artyk, oh wow, Ewo actually got rooted. But Nature's Attendance again, saving the day. TP back. The unending fight. This battle's been going for more than a minute now. Owie gonna be caught with a hook. Misco coming out of the woodwork. Didn't have enough mana for cogs. The boat gonna connect. Mihawk's in trouble. Way 2 still standing. And the rest of Artyk has to withdraw. If he had cogs right there, a very different fight. Instead, he hooked in, got a great target with no follow-up. And still being chased by the bear. That'll change momentarily, I think. Now, they're going to pursue this out. Bane's right there, though. And now the X marks the spot. Going to bring him right back. Waveform through. Smash him about to half health. Ice Path, beautiful follow-up. Sneaking, able to clean it up with Blade Fury. Ewo now the target. Misco can't do much to help. Has no mana. But they managed to retreat to safety on the high ground. So Dignitas showing one of their hallmarks, one of the best teams in the world at coordinating team fights.
Yeah, that was really poor by Artyk. I don't think they should have engaged there.
Yeah.
They have a pretty hefty advantage, and on top of that, Smash, as the Bane, had no mana, so he couldn't use the mechanism. He had his Fiend's Grip up, but again, no mana, so there was no reason for him to fight. That's kind of their key hero, being able to put out so much damage, and the mech. He wasn't able to do that as well until he wanded. He had to wait for wand charges. So just kind of taking that fight seemed a little weird. I mean, they have so much of a farm advantage. The Nature's Prophet is going to have a Shadow Blade any second now, which will just become the most annoying hero in Dota. Meaning, the thing that hurts too about if a Nature's Prophet gets a really quick Shadow Blade is that MSS and Way Too Sexy are they're not gonna ever get items because they're just gonna have to buy a gem or sentries and dust, and so they're never gonna get tanky enough to do anything in fights. Whereas, I mean, let's look at the Enchantress. She's got Arcane Boots ready, which already puts her above both supports, and a point booster, and 500 gold on top of that. And then the Clockwork himself, he doesn't really have a lot of gear, but he doesn't need anything, right? He's kind of the suicide bomb. I'll just kind of start the fights off. And he's got a mech, so that adds to his effective HP as well. So the farm advantage coming from a support standpoint is just fantastically large at this point.
Oh yeah, top end and bottom end, they have the advantage. Top 3 net worth, all belonging to Artyk right now. Owie's on pace at least, but he is being beaten by the highest on the board quite handily. That would be the Prophet, who's doubling, not quite doubling up, but 2,000 ahead of him, I should say. But I'm going to finish that thought. That fight went on for about 8 years, so I never did get to finish what I had to say before that. But the fact is, EG was playing, I can't remember if it was Artyk or Meanix. I want to say it was one of the two. It might have been Pain as well. It was one of the South American squads. And at one point, EG trailed. It was right around this time in the game, 15-5. However, when you opened up the goal graph, EG was actually ahead. When you looked at the experience, EG was actually ahead. And it had so much to do with secondary and tertiary objectives. Getting kills, but getting something else out of it. Getting kills to get map control to gank a carry, for example, which you had touched on. The fact that Artyk was doing a great job of that once the Bane won mid so handily. And that's really one of the more subtle points to make and one of the more subtle things to point to when you want to talk about the difference between a really good team and one of the best teams. And the fact that Artyk is showing that understanding of being able to chain together objectives in order to dominate the map really speaks volumes as to how talented this squad really is.
Yes, and I actually think the best thing Artyk could do right now is pick up a gem, counter ward, because AUI has a lot of vision on the map, but you know, if you take that away from him progressively, then it makes it really difficult for anybody to get farm.
Right.
But it looks like Artyk's doing a good job here. Every time they get a kill, they were getting a tower out of this, and it looks like they're actually just going to pressure the T2, opting to just trade for the T1.
And Macro Pyre going to go down, not going to do much, but give off a nice little warm flame. Nightmare on the bear kept him out of the fight as well, going tier 1 for tier 2. Tier 1 got glyphed, actually. They're going to respond and look for some revenge. Not going to be able to find it, though. As Universe, actually, Mihawk is going to be able to sprout him, and he immediately TPs out. So he does manage to make it back to safety. That tower is deniable and will be denied. So not only do they go tier 1 for tier 2, they go tier 2 full for tier 1 denied. Very well done by Artyk.
Yes, I actually really like that decision. They were able to take the T2 bottom and deny the tower out, so a fantastic trade for them. And at the same time, Ewo or IW is going to actually pick up his Manta really soon. He's got the money for an ultimate orb. And, I mean, just compare him with Snake King. Snake King's got a Bracer and 800 gold. It's not even close, and they should actually just take Roshan here, yep. And that's what they're doing, and then from here, they just engage as many fights as they want to take.
Here's a question for you while we watch Roshan get beat to death. Is it AUI or is it AUI?
I've known this man since he was 13. It's AUI.
I will never be able to call him that because saying AUI is too many syllables in a team fight, but I'm glad I know now. He will always be AUI to me.
He doesn't really care. Like, I talked to him at the International about it. He doesn't really care, but we've always called him AUI, so.
Yeah. I've just always been curious. There's always been those that call him AUI, those that call him AUI. I like to at least know what's correct, even if I'm not using the correct usage. I don't know about Ewo either. Same concept, though. I don't care if it is IWO. He will be known as Ewo. Much easier to get that name out. Anyway, Roche does the drop, and it looks like Morphling actually picked it up. Now, on a scale of 1 to Arctic, how hardcore should they push the issue right now? Should they be going way overboard and playing aggressive like they have all game, or should they feel comfortable to settle back and farm this Morphling some more?
I mean, the Morph actually has so much farm on Snake King that the late game advantage is actually quite in their favor. And AUI didn't have the kind of start he wanted to have. I mean, a 20-minute armlet with phase boots in this situation is actually quite decent, but it just doesn't really add a whole lot for them. And Morphling's actually going to go for an Ethblade instead of actually going for the Manta, which I really agree with, just because he can blow anybody up at this point in the game.
Right.
Everyone's so underfarmed. I mean, Snake King is kind of progressively getting more and more farm, but at the same time, it just isn't too much. I think Artyk actually is in a pretty good position to just farm it out. Their Nature's Prophet has an ulti orb, and once it gets a Hex, I think that's when you can really start to take fights.
Yep.
I don't know why I said really like 6 times. I'm so sorry. I just woke up.
It's all right, man. It's all right. I say the same stuff all the time. And
I saw that thread, actually.
Yes, and you know what? I'm happy about it. I like the idea that
Catchphrases, man.
Exactly. At least the things I say catch on. And so long as people are enjoying it and having fun with it. Here's a sneak peek. We're actually thinking about making t-shirts along those themes.
Oh, so. I really like that idea. You'll be the new Breaky CPK.
I've been compared to that guy for so long now, and I have no idea. Like, I know who he is, but I don't know him. You know what I mean? I need to meet him at some point. Go to a high event.
They've got the high ground on Smash.
Smash going to be caught with the tail end of an ice path. There's the Omni Slash. So tanky. Mechs through it. Just look how tanky he is. Buying time. He's still up. He is going to be rooted and finally cleaned up. Macro Pyre goes down. And the rest of the fight going to play itself out. But Smash is taking so long to bring down. Dignitas going to be trading 2 for 1 so far. And Artyk ready to re-engage. it took their entire team forever to bring him down. 11-6, Artyk takes a small win there, but likely to take a tower. Mihawk does get caught by a root, will Shadow Blade away. But even the Kunkka forced down now. Aui's actually going to be sprouted in, taking a lot of damage. X marks the spot. Root on Misko, but they'll trade Misko for Aui any day of the week. Can't blame him a bit. Morphling's going to go for it. Decides not to pursue. We'll catch the Demonic Purge on his retreat, though. And here comes the TP. He's going to be disrupted and come out and should be cleaned up. So Dignitas able to pop the Aegis as the rest of his team retreats. Not the situation you want to be in, but nonetheless, looks like he did actually manage to get away, so good for him. But 7-12, 19 kills on the board, and the Peruvian All-Star, Peruvian All-Stars here, really laying into him continually. They ended up feeding a little bit back, but still not a bad fight.
Yeah, I think what hurt Artyk against the game against EG, I actually watched that, is they kind of get over-eager to just kind of go for the kills and take inefficient fights. And they are starting to get regress into that a little here, but at the same time, the more... I mean, you can't understate his farm. He's got a Yasha and an Ethereal Blade at this point at 23 minutes, which is fantastic in any point of a game. But I think they do need to slow down the tempo a little. Mihawk's going to go down at bottom.
Disrupted, Ice Path to follow it up. See you back at the base, brother. It's not your jungle. Stay on your side of the river, man. But yeah, I mean, taking a look at the GPM, Prophet, of course, as one would expect, is up top.
Oh, at bottom.
Yep, they're going to try to blow up MSS. They'll get him with a waveform. Sneaking is retreating. They've got help on the way. And let's see if they can cut him off. Well, Sneaky's actually stopping to farm here. And now
Don't do it, Sneaking. Oh, God, he's so dead.
Yeah. Decided to stop and take a last hit or two. He may have gotten way too killed, too, if they can catch him. There's the Replicate. And gonna send the Replicate out. Ice Path's gonna buy some time. They're gonna dive him, and he's gone. And the only two other heroes, AUI, is in mid near Roche Pit. Universe trying to split push top. But, I mean, you've got a mech, exactly. And now they're gonna be able to push up, and that's with the Morphling. So their right click is gonna be substantial. They're gonna have to glyph here.
Yeah, Nature's Prophet can actually TP in about 8 seconds.
Yep.
So I don't actually think that there's a reason for them to stop. Ewo can actually just one-shot the Shadow Demon to start the fight, as we saw. And that's a huge thing, too, just because that's your main disable.
Yep.
Once you get rid of that, then the fights become much more difficult to take. And Shadow Poison actually does a lot of damage in a fight, too. So being able to just instantly blow up a hero, that's such a huge boon to your team. That's a numbers advantage to begin with.
And they are going to retreat, which is a little surprising but understandable. I think they heard you talking. Slow it down, push your advantage, get a little further ahead before you try to slam the last nail into the coffin. Sneaking with an invis rune, looking for a target in the jungle. Doesn't look like he's going to have a chance to find one. Might find Smash if he dips down, but given how tanked up, I mean, Smash has got almost 1,400 HP, and he has 13 armor. The guy is just going to be impossible for him to take down.
Yeah, he actually has... In the fight, he lasted through everything. He pops the Brain Sap, the Mech, and the Magic Wand, and that was enough to make that fight okay. I think Artyk overextended that a little bit, just because he wasn't able to do anything in a fight. He had to use everything defensively. So that made the fight a little weird, and I mean, it was kind of funny to see them take the fight mid, which was kind of a really poor fight, and then run away from bottom, which would have been a much better fight, just because they had the positioning. It just seems kind of like a weird, faulty concept, but... Ewo at the same time, he's got 2,100 gold. I'd imagine now he's going to get a Manta, maybe ends up picking a BKB instead, but I think he's okay with just getting the Manta. Especially since Smash is working on the BKB, so he should be able to buffer a lot. And I think that's a Hex for Mihawk.
Yep, sure is. Scythe of Ice complete. On the Prophet, he's got teammates looking to make something happen as they move under cover of smoke. Double damage rune will be spotted. Looks like they're not going to worry about it. That missile shot, and Aoi immediately turns around.
Oh, at top.
And here we go. There's the Scythe showed off. Sneaking, going to be the target. Here comes the rest of them. Cleaned up immediately. And Ewo earns himself a godlike streak. Tier 2 top, not long for the world. Now we're going to have a hook. They're going to initiate in. Trying to grab him, the bear. Doing what damage he can. Universe throws the boat. The boat's going to connect and catch a couple. And actually knocked him out of the Fiend's Grim now. They're all channeled in. Dignitas back on the warpath. They're going to lose Universe. Matsuko trying to heal up. X marks the spot, brings Smash back forward. Throws out the Nightmare. That was as bad as it possibly could have gone for them. And they still came out ahead. That's how far ahead they are. They all grouped up for every group AoE spell. that Dignitas had, Ice Path, Macropyre, the boat, everything else, even the Bane.
Oh, are you gonna ult this, Snake King? Okay, good. I would have been really depressed if he actually did that, but they actually pick up the gem, which is okay. They're actually gonna try going on Smash.
They did just use the ult and jumping everywhere. There's gonna be Smash sprouted in. They're gonna try to pursue out the Prophet. The gem is on the Juggernaut, so he's got an eye on him. No way to stun him with Omni Slash on cooldown, so he'll make it back to safety, and Smash as well. Quite happy to make it back to friendly confines. 19-9, Artyk continuing to increase their lead. They're up in the 5-digit range now. 10,000 gold going in their direction. The experience just about the same. And I think we saw right there again, that's about the best Dignitas could hope for. Hold on, Misko gonna be X'd. He's gonna be touring it. Might be a free kill for them. Not very tanky. Gonna hook to sneaking. He's got help on the low ground, but Ewo thinks better of it. But yeah, where Artyk grouped up in that one fight, that's about the best they're going to be able to hope for. So I guess at this point, if you're in Dignitas' shoes, your best hope's just the turtle like hell.
They took a fight, what? I mean, Mihawk got his Hex 3 minutes ago, and they took that fight at top, and since then he's farmed 2k gold. I don't even know how that happened. Where did that money come in from?
His GPM is 533, I can tell you that. Hala hala gadala. And I wonder, yeah, he's been very, yeah, he's 6-3. 10-0 on the Morphling. That's okay, Dota. That's all right. And he's going to engage.
Oh my god, he does so much damage.
Almost dead. They're going to re-engage. They're actually going to get him here. And no, actually able to replicate away just in time. Gets himself back to safety there. The fight's going to continue to rage. And Mihawk got a kill. Now there's the Fiend's Grip on way to. Boat going to stun him out of it, or at least make him move. He still gets caught. And now the counter engagement on Dignitas. Sneaking, doing what damage he can. Ewo and Smash in some trouble. They've got help on the high ground. Not going to make it there. Earn charge from the clock, trying to get Ewo back into fighting shape. He's going to spot an illusion rune as well. Grabs it, puts it in the bottle, and then pops it. And now the hook coming from downtown. Misko gets the cogs down. Ice Path stuns him out a bit. So the Juggernaut got a little help, but not enough. 3 for 1. And Artyk is now doubling them up. And this is what I call the grinded out stage, where you're ahead, but you're not so far ahead you can just start face rolling. And this is where you'll often see teams, for lack of a better word, throw a game. Because they start to grind it out, they lose 2 or 3 fights, suddenly a Roshan's gone, and they give away their lead. Artyk is not letting that happen. Artyk is playing this out pretty effectively.
Yeah, they're taking AUI out of the fights completely. I mean, we talked about his farm, I mean, I did anyways, at the 20-minute mark having an armlet.
Yep.
And on top of that, all he's added is a Mithril Hammer at this point. He's just seen so much pressure this game. Ewo almost one-shots him with this combo, and, I mean, 100 damage on top of that should mean that he should be able to go down. Smash is going to have his BKB soon. This is another Roshan. It's going to be so difficult at this point for Dignitas to try to take a fight, because they have nothing to deal with Ewo. They have to use so much just to kill him. As you said earlier, Smash is so tanky. It's difficult to bring down anyone at this point.
Yep. Mihawk, by the way, is just about 1,000 gold away from having an MKB, if that's the direction he wants to go, which can't help but think that'd be a nice decision if they want to try and siege out Dignitas.
Oh, the smoke, this is a fight.
Gonna try and make something happen. Artyk not looking too worried about it. Comes out, Chet. Oh, okay, there was a Jakiro there. Was, not there anymore. As he's completely blown to pieces. And yeah, I was gonna say Artyk comes out, chest out, and yeah, I think they're looking for a fight.
Yeah, they have mid-game carries, Dignitas, but none of them have items. So it's so difficult for them to take a fight right now, you see.
Yep.
And the Morph, I mean, he just has that one-shot ability with his abilities.
Yep.
Oh, they're actually going to go on unsnaking here. You got a TP out, Snake?
Nope, sorry, sneaking. See you back in the well. Artyk, yeah, like, Artyk, Ewo is 13-0. He has gone absolutely berserk on this Morphling, and it all started in that top lane, as you discussed. I mean, it just was not going Dignitas' way. Some very well executed, well-timed ganks onto Aoi, slowed him down, so you had both of the carries. Then we didn't even see it. However, the courier died. That really crippled Kunkka. And when you look at the way this is playing out, I think Dignitas, whether they wanted to be or not, were very all in on Kunkka carrying them through the mid-game, and that just hasn't been the case. They may get a kill here on Mihawk. He will Shadow Blade. Torrent will bring him back. He's going to be caught. Ice Path to follow it up. Macropyre's down. Here comes the boat for good measure, and a very nice kill for them to grab there, bringing down the Prophet. He's down for more than a minute.
Yeah. He does have 2,800 gold, though. They had no detection, so great boat by Universe. But Enchantress has an Aghanim's. Yeah. As a support Enchantress, she has an Ags now.
Yeah.
And Ewo's got 2,500 gold on top of that. The Nature's Prophet, yeah, he's gonna go with the MKB. He picks up his Javelin as well as being able to buy back and being able to come from behind.
Here we go. Fight breaks out. They're going to engage. MSS blown up, gone, killed with nothing but Ewo's combo and the Prophet ulti. They're going to continue to do damage. Smash is going to pop the mech. In the meantime, Jugger blows his ulti. Misko has a lockdown on Way 2. Way 2's gone. Ewo's still up and fighting. Morphing strength. Snaking's gone. Aui's going to have to make a run for the well. Tough to do that through trees as he sprouted in and killed off. I believe we may have on our hands the first major upset in the American Dota League. As the Peruvian All-Stars, the pride of Peru, Artyk Gaming takes one off of the professional team, the direct invite to the International 3, Dignitas. What a performance out of these guys. Absolutely love it, Blitz.
Yeah, they played this actually fantastically. They put the dual lane up top, knowing that Mystico was enough just to protect the Morphling. They knew that if they were able to kill AY early and off the bat, they could minimize his pushing presence. So the thing that really hurt Dignitas is they had no presence anywhere. They couldn't get any split push. They couldn't divert Artyk into doing anything that they wanted. And from there, they just kind of progressively got the farm advantage. I mean, Nature's Prophet had such a fast Hex on top of a Midas and a Shadow Blade, putting out so much damage. I mean, the fast Shadow Blade meant that, look at Way Too Sexy and MSS's inventory. They had sentries out the wazoo. And when we talked about their items, I mean, they added a Bracer and a Belt of Giant Strength on Shadow Demon.
Yep.
And that's about it. So not being able to get any sort of items out there, and the Morph having an Ethereal Blade at 25 minutes means that a support's going to die every single time.
Yep.
And if you start a fight like that, then it's usually a GG from that point on.
32 minutes, 59 seconds, the official game time. 12-28. Artyk more than doubles up. The professional team doubles up, one of the favorites in the tournament, and again gives us our first major upset here at the American Dota League. I'm here at AC Chambers, joined live by Blitz. Blitz, my friend, dropping knowledge like you own it. Tell me, where can folks find more about you if they want to keep up with you?
Oh god, I should know this. Twitter.com/blitz_Dota. There's an underscore because some Russian guy took Blitz Dota, and Twitch.tv /BlitzDota.
There you go. Make sure you follow him, guys. You can find me on Twitter as well. It's at AC at AYESEE, and on Twitch, twitch.tv/ACTV. Artyk gets a win against Dignitas. We got our second game of the day coming up next. That's going to be Artyk back in action, taking on the Brazilian squad, Minix Esports. Stick with us, guys. We'll be right back.